Well, I thought after watching the game from Saturday to Sunday, just really excited about the way our guys not only just handled the preparation for the game, but the game itself. We talked all week about executing the plan, putting in the preparation, and to play the game on Saturday. And I thought at halftime, the coaches, the players all bought into some adjustments we need to make, and obviously close it out in a very good fashion to have some of our seniors, Pat Bryant, to get that recognized as the most touchdowns for a season in a career in Memorial Stadium. I thought was just off. He is the definition, I think, of what this program, at least since I've been here, like truly try to just impress the way you grow, the way you develop, the way you make yourself better every year. I just thought there was no better representative than Pat Bryant to have that. So to have that play out, to have Gabe Ackus, I think he had about 20 people here in the stands, right, to have him play the way he did. Seth Coleman, I knew he was going to have another big day. Just see it play out, and then to get some new guys. I know you guys like interviewing Kanena. Kanena was just to see that smile, to see that reward for a lot of hard work. It was on, like I said in the post game, it was almost a year to date. So really excited for a lot of different guys, but quickly flushed that game and jumped into our Rutgers preparation. As a coach, I kind of gave our staff that directive. We usually meet about 12:30 on Sundays to have the game graded and ready and talk about our opponent. We quickly flipped the page and jumped into our Rutgers prep from an injury standpoint. I do think Malik Elgey, we're going to expect him to practice tomorrow. I don't know how much it'll be, but he is cleared to practice tomorrow. Passed through his running and everything today, or yesterday and today, so get him out there. Also, Joe Barna will be involved in individual drills and Skelly tomorrow, so if that progresses, then I think he'll be cleared for Wednesday. Demetrius John also had a hamstring that flared up last week that he practiced and ran today with the trainers. Should have him back out there. Also another guy that we've been waiting to get out there, Daniel Brown, who has been battling through some back issues, has really progressed here. We thought we'd get him back during the second bye week, and he's been limited and kind of bringing himself back. So really, he's a guy that led the JUCO World 2 years ago and most productive sack hitter. And have him come into the inside linebacker room would be really good. Did lose T. Rooks during the course of the game, got his ankle rolled up a little bit. But I do think he's got a chance to come back on Friday. On Friday for the travel and Saturday for the game. So we'll see where that plays out. A couple highlights of the weekend. Don't get a lot of Kirk Hittner, who I obviously competed against as a coach. Obviously very close with Josh. He was shared some time with Josh. Just one of the things that's been a byproduct of these guest captains that come in is you just learn and hear a little bit more from me as a head coach. To learn a little bit more of the past. And I thought Kurt on Friday gave a speech to our team about why he came to Illinois. He did have some other Big Ten offers. He wanted to come here and kind of do something at Illinois that had never been done before, right? And I saw Brett's stats today that to have 20 wins over the last 3 seasons hadn't been done here since 1999 to 2001, which just happens to be when Kirk Hittner was here. And for him to give a speech on Friday that really played to that effect, like, hey, you guys are in here, you're changing the narrative. He did bring it to our attention that he really enjoyed the Michigan game. I think he's a guy that you could see speaks very, very well about what he believes in. And I think, we made a couple little comments in our preparation going into Michigan State that we had a chance, obviously, to play Michigan State, but to go 3-0 against the state of Michigan and Central Michigan, Michigan State in our own stadium. I think that was pretty awesome. I know for me, I made a couple references to it. We wanted to play well for our seniors and senior day, and obviously to finish a 6 wins out of 7 opportunities here in Memorial Stadium, and to give our fans, really everybody, right, from your guys' job as media people and Josh and his crew and the DIA to our building over here in the Smith Center with football. Just felt that was a really big step for our program. So really couldn't be happier to be where we are. Obviously, we'd love to have, we're from the outside world, we're a 7-3 football team, but 3 games that you wish you could go back and kind of play over again. But the fact of the matter is we got an unbelievable opportunity in front of us with Rutgers, and to put ourselves in a position here at the end of the year with 2 games remaining to have a lot to play for is pretty awesome. Don't really know what the world is, this different world we're in now with the CFP and bowl games. It's kind of changed the alliances and the allotments of bowl games. So I think our guys are excited to play for a lot and see where we go Saturday. So with that, I'll open it up for questions and go.
Coach, back in the top 25 and back being projected for some pretty high level bowl games, is there a sense that the win over Michigan State can be a jumping off point or a turning point for you?
I don't know. Anybody else jumped off? Maybe you. Nobody else did. So I think the part that's really awesome is just the way our guys have approached every week, and the detail that they have done. I really respect the way they, the Oregon game I know was a tough one to play that way, and then to come back and have the game against Minnesota, to lose that one in the fourth quarter in a one possession game was tough to follow. But I did like the way our guys handled the bye week and the preparation. We've done very well in the bye week since we've come here, and then to put ourselves in a position to win that game. And really don't worry about the past, just worry about the present and where we're going.
Bret, you challenged the play the other day. I'm just wondering, I don't know if I've asked, like, how do you handle the challenge? What's the process of when you decide to challenge? Like, who are you communicating with? What do you have to see? What do you have to hear?
Yeah, so great coaching point. So, the challenge flag in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an actual flag. We get to challenge it with something that's kind of evolved steadily in this world, right? When I was last in it wasn't quite at that stage. And then when I was in the NFL, they actually have the challenge flag, right? And I believe it was a Sunday night or a Monday night football game. I'm up in the booth my first year, and I see a play happen, and I yell something. The ball is out. The ball is out, and that was not my job responsibility. But I yelled it, and Bill threw a flag, and I'm just like, oh boy, this isn't going to be good, right? If this doesn't materialize, and fortunately, the ball was out, and we won the challenge and did it, and I kind of quickly learned protocol there, right, and got assigned to some new duties after that, because you really truly don't want to waste those opportunities, right? And Saturday I heard someone yell ball out. They were getting ready to snap the ball, and I just really felt like I want to take a look at that challenge, because I did see the ball out, but we're trying to also get replay information from upstairs, right? Because a lot of times our sideline or our replay board won't show it. So the challenge really does come up to the guys upstairs. I'll say, hey, can anybody confirm it? And then I will tell our guys all the time, hey, tell me the truth, right? And I know a couple of the guys on the field were talking about it being out. I go back to, I believe it was Zeke, if I'm not mistaken, our first year, ripped one out that no one else saw. And the only reason I called the challenge is because of Zeke's reaction. So I tell our players all the time, I can handle anything, just tell me the truth, because we all want the same thing. That's really the best indicator.
Okay. Shiana has talked a lot about the NFL experience having changed him, even though it's Rutgers to Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked a lot about how the NFL experience.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to speak for him, but speak for you.
Yeah.
How did the NFL experience really change you?
Yeah, I think, Matt, twofold, right? I didn't have any idea about the NFL. I had a wonderful NFL career. I joke about it all the time. I was with the Seahawks 6 days before they cut me, so I really hadn't seen that side of it, right? I was very limited. I've been to a lot of OTAs every spring as a head coach. I'd go to OTAs, and you would see, just the differences in practice and the layouts and the rules. But the games itself were very different, at least when I first went into it. And now they're very similar in the fact there's so many things that are mirrored from challenges. But the part I really probably took out of it more than anything was just the daily approach to our roster. And the NFL roster is at 53 guys on game days, but it narrows down to 47 at kickoff, right? And in a way, we're at a 74-man travel roster, which is a little bit higher, but you really kind of got a meat and potatoes of about 50 guys that you play the game with each week, and that really opened my eyes to roster management. And then the second aspect is just the, when I went into the league. During that first spring with the Patriots, Trent Harris, who's now with us as a young coach working with our outside backers, I would meet with him and teach football, right? And I would meet with every position group, really offensively and defensively, and just talk football one-on-one. And it really kind of gave me a chance to be on the grassroots level of these incoming rookies, and saw how some of those guys knew a lot of football, but also saw some things. I remember someone didn't know what a two-point play was, and they'd graduated from or came from a, we won't get specific, but it was a very southern level playing area, right? And I'm like, what do you know what a two-point play? But he just never phrased in that way, right? So I think probably expounded to me how much you can still have an impact on teaching the game to kids, right? And I think Owen Carney was back here Saturday, and just to see his smile and to know some of the things he said to me after his time here of what we were able to teach him and guide him to be. And has put him in positions where we are today. I text Isaac Darkangelo this morning, who I think just won part of the Grey Cup right up in Canada, and just said, hey, congratulations, man. And he said something back to me that was very thought-driven and purposeful about what we did to impact him. So those two I think are the biggest areas. I can't speak for Greg. Greg and I were actually in a lot. We were in. He started working for the Patriots for a few weeks, so we actually shared a conference room together. I remember we went to the combine and got back from the combine that night. Our flight was delayed coming out, and I remember we were in the van, and I said, "Hey, take Greg." He was staying at the hotel. I was actually living in a house at that point. I said, "Let's take Greg to the hotel. Let's get him back to where, and then we'll go over to all of our cars were at the stadium." So we dropped him off, and I said, "Hey, I'll see you at 6 tomorrow morning, right?" He's like, "Yeah," and then never. It kind of changed literally overnight. So I always give him heat about that. But I've known Greg a long time and respect what he is.
What do you think's made him successful?
Well, I think anybody that has been around Greg would tell you like he is who he is. Like he's very in tune with what he is, what he represents. Football IQ, intelligence, and then I've had the pleasure of being around a lot of coaches that have worked for him, and just the way they talk about the way he mentally and physically prepares his team, I think is pretty routine. Again, like I just think the one thing that really jumps out to me about coaches that perform well over time, especially at places that maybe the talent, is it's one thing to be at these places that are blue blood programs, right? But like what Greg has done there at Rutgers, I think 13 bowl games, 8 of them have been during his time, right? Just his approach to daily diligence, he recruits extremely well. We probably recruit against Rutgers universally from coast to coast as much as anybody in this program, because I think we do go after the same type of kids.
Another NFL-related question. Yeah. Tommy DeVito looks like he's going to start again. So we heard that. Just your thoughts on him, and also Luke Altmaier down the road. What's his chances at that level?
Yeah. So Tommy, funny story. Obviously, I know a lot about the Giants, right? And very close to a lot of people in that building, a lot of coaches still, the owners, and I knew there were some bumps in the road, right? And earlier this year, there was something that just slapped me in the face one day to say, reach out to Tommy, right? Because like I knew their quarterback was going through some things, and I told him, I said, hey, this was literally probably in week 1 or week 2. I said, hey, I know your focus is going to take you off where you need to go, but like just prepare for the moment because it's going to come. Like I don't know when or how, but I just have been in this a long time. I'm like, your moment is going to come. Don't wait for that moment to prepare, right? And so then literally I saw a social media post someone just gave me about 2 hours ago that said Tommy was projected to be the starter, and I opened my phone, hit the send button, and looked, and the message that I had sent him, from about 6-7 weeks ago was, I just said, hey, I put the arrow up sign. I said, read above, right? Like, because he commented after I sent him that, like, Coach, appreciate that, needed it, and like, I'm just so excited because this kid's moment, right? If it comes this week, he's probably been preparing for this moment for a long time before this week, and I think that's why Tom will be successful. He's got obviously the bravado and all the things that make him who he is, but if that chance is real, I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. Luke, the greatest thing that Luke brings to the table is you can literally see him improve every day. He's an extremely accurate passer. I think, that first big play to Pat was a call for him at the line of scrimmage that he knew enough to check into and put himself in that position. I think when you have that in a player and a respect that Barry and him have with each other, I think the relationship between him and Barry is very, very fun for me to watch as a coach because. Luke can be a little moody, and Barry can too, right? They both got that little pretty boy quarterback syndrome, and they kind of play off each other very, very well, and it's fun to see that interaction.
If Daniel Brown is able to go, what will he bring to that group that maybe is?
He's an explosive, dynamic pass rusher. I remember when I first saw him, his JUCO pro Hutch is an incredibly the head coach there. I just got a lot of respect for how he does things and what he's at, and so I remember the first time I saw DB play, and I was just like, wow, this guy's a very dynamic, explosive, powerful. To me, he's kind of our kind of guy, right? Maybe doesn't have all the correct measurables, right, but just plays extremely hard. And then I remember that year, a year ago, when we would go out during the bye week, and he was committed to us, right? And I would go to a bunch of junior colleges, and they're like, oh, hey, you got that edge guy out of Hutch, right? And every team they played against knew about Daniel Brown. Even teams that weren't playing them, they saw him on film. So I think that's the part he brings. Even last spring when we had him in spring ball, like we were doing anything we could to find a way to get him on the field, just because we knew Gabe and Seth and Alec were going to be very talented players, but Daniel is very, very unique and dynamic, explosive athlete.
Two-parter with Malik. What's he dealing with, and when did that pop up?
Yeah,
maybe this is
Malik had friendly fire. He got tackled, rolled just during It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was on Thursday bye week. It was either, it had to be Wednesday or Thursday because I just saw Wednesday and Thursday's practice. So just kind of a routine play, broke back, got rolled up with a couple guys, rolled his ankles. Knew it was going to be a hard stretch to get him back next week, but there was a chance. I know he was extremely disappointed. Malik Elzy, I think the Pat Bryant effect is a great point. Like Malik Elzy, you know, even when Zakari came in, he knew it, but like Malik would tell you that he's become better through Zakari's presence just because great players make good players play well, right? And Malik didn't do anything but take that as a challenge. He was literally playing his best football, had really been a key factor for us. Excited to get him back out there, but I thought Kapka Jones, right, took advantage. I mean, that 3rd and long that he caught, just another great indicator. And I think Pat, you know, I asked Pat this in front of the team the other day, said, what is the greatest, you know, you're a great, we always talk about Pat's preparation. I said, the preparation you do now, where did you learn that the most from? And he said, Isaiah Williams, right? And I said that Friday night in front of the team because, you know, as coaches, we always say, you know, seniors always graduate, but traditions never do, right? And Pat learned from Isaiah, and now I think I can see Kapka Jones and Malik Elzy, and to a certain degree, Kenari Wilcher, and really, to be honestly, Zakari Franklin learning through Pat, right? And that's when you truly can start to build a program, something good.
Do you have the second part, Drew?
He got my second part.
Okay, got it. I want to ask about field position. So I stumbled on this stat this morning. I don't know if you know this. Illinois has the fewest possessions starting inside the 20 of any team in college football. Number 1 in that stat. It's like 5.8% of drives have started inside the 20. What goes into that? Like, does that come from the game plan? Does that come from the approach? 4th down decisions? Tell me about that stat.
Well, first off, I just, you know, I've been head coach here going into my 4th season, and I thought the special teams performance on Saturday from our crew was as good as I've been around, right? Like, to have Fabrizio come in and punt the ball the way he did, to have Hugh come in and punt it, who was now coming off the bench to punt the way he did it. Hank Beatty in the return game, like, I think he's number 8 in the country and number 1 in the Big Ten. Hank Beatty is changing program, but those are hidden yardage that people don't understand, right? The play of our gunners, so Tanner Heckel, who had 0.0 offers, right, when we offered him come in, was an absolute, he played 22 snaps of special teams and changed the game on 4 different occasions, right? Like, he forced a fair catch twice, he made a play on a broken return. As far as being out of the -20, we do make a lot of decisions that play into the factor of field position. Josh and administration, after my first year, allowed us to purchase, it's basically an analytic company that allows me to, I don't use it wholeheartedly, but I do watch it and understand it. I know Greg does it at Rutgers as well. And then the other thing is penalties. Like, I was so pissed when we had that big return, and Ben is literally one of our favorite special teams role guys, but he know when he pushed that guy in the back, it cost us probably 15 yards of key field position. So I do get excited every week because we're usually the least penalized team that we're going against, but we're 8th in the country and Rutgers is 7th, right? So again, another great, you know, you kind of see a lot of mirrored things across the way with this team we're getting ready to play. So that factors into it a lot, and then really not making bad decisions. You know, Luke, you know, has had a couple turnovers, right? But his numbers as far as touchdowns, interception ratio is really, really special, and I think that stuff all adds up.
What makes Hank Beatty such a good punt returner? Like, what has made him so
What makes
good?
Hank Beatty such a good punt returner?
Yeah.
Well, you know, probably even going back to his film, I know you guys watched him, like, he was, you know, at Rochester and just in, you know, very dynamic high school football player. Like, you put him in the slot, you put him at quarterback, put him at running back, they put him on defense. You know, I think the part that was fun for me is the things you saw in high school, it really carried forward, you know, to the things you see here, right? The things he did at Rochester and a great program and what they are, you know, manifested now here. We've had plays where we played him at quarterback. We've had plays where we played him at slot, wide receiver. I did think that going into the year, he was going to be our starting punt returner. I know it took a while to get there, but I did think that was going to be his role, and for him to, he just got so much confidence. Even that one, you know, like it was the one that they got the catch interference. I'm like, no, just, you know, and he's like, you're going to catch it. And then just who Hank Beatty is, right? Like, if you've been around his mom and dad, right? Like, they're very dynamic, awesome people, both doctors, just really good, gifted people that have raised a really good kid that makes a lot of good plays.
With him, is there a correlation between getting that confidence on punt return and
what he's been showing more offensively? Like, are those things tied together?
Great question. I think so. You know, I'm telling you, though, in my opinion, the single hardest job on a football field is to be the punt returner and also the guys that are guarding the punt returner, like those guys that are, you know, we call it swatchers, the guys that are covering some of their best skill. You know, like Sidney Brown, like whatever you want to say, he played really good defensive football for us. When those scouts came in, they talked about the effect Sidney Brown has as a gunner on punt, and now he's doing it in the NFL. Like, those guys can change the game in a heartbeat. And Hank Beatty, to have those guys screaming down the field at you and to have the confidence that he plays with, it's really fun to, you know, now Rutgers, you know, for us presents Greg is a big special teams guy. We actually worked their punt team, our punt team against their punt block, because they're a very aggressive punt block team. So we actually work them during our bye week, 3 weeks in advance, which I never do that, right? But just have a lot of respect for what they are and who they are. They give a lot of unique looks that we got to have the right answers for. So some really good stuff. But overall, that unit and to the point about field position, like our special teams, I think, are a really big part of that.
Thank you, guys.